Listen, I'm about to sit down on the Father's Coach podcast with my man, Kevin Kelley. Now, I'm going to tell y'all right now, don't miss this joint. We dropping some gems. We having some deep conversation. And look, get the pen and paper, take notes, and I challenge you to go get some definitions, some descriptions, and actually use the gems that we're going to be dropping. The Father's Coach with my man, Kevin Kelley.
He is amazing. I mean, just the simple fact that he is here, gracing us with his presence, we're going to have a good time reframing and reforming the image of fatherhood in our culture. Not only that, before you become a father, you have to be a man. So we're going to talk about some man stuff. So we kind of talked about this, just juggling this, about just a grown man conversation. Two grown men having a conversation. Welcome, Coach K.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I need to actually have my wife listen to the intros.
Yeah.
Just, you know what I'm saying? So she'll know, like, okay, all right, you did it. Because every now and then she'll say to me, I don't need no coach right now. I don't need Coach K right now. I just need you to listen to me. And sometimes I have to remind her, but listen. So she'll say, no, I don't need that right now.
Man, sometimes our wives, they don't know that they're being fathered by us.
I ain't going to. Look, he said that. But I'm going to go ahead and let that ride.
They're being fathered by, we father them, and we know that, and they kind of mother us sometimes too, that nurturing piece, but we father them.
I think, I'm going to tell you what I learned, maybe over the last, definitely 10 years ago, but more so in the last 2 years. And I had this conversation with my wife. Everything that I do for you. Right? So I do everything for you.
Okay.
And now as I'm going into this next season in my life, I want to do more of it with you.
Wow.
So the work that I've been doing for so many years, like, you know, we leave out, we go to work, we trying to build everything. And we always say, hey, man, hey, babe, I'm doing it for us. Like we do. Now I want to do it with you.
Man, I've been in this, I'm in a similar situation right now, as I'm trying to expand the business. Of course, you know, I'm in ministry and business. We do a lot of things in the community as well. But it was a Kevin Kelley show. Father's Coach, Life by Design coaching firm, which is the business and everything. So it's been me grinding, you know, and all that. It's been me doing this thing. So for me to go to the next level, I see that I need my wife. I need her. So now what I need to do as men, and you know this, you know, I've been married, this year will be 28 years. I need to take more of her insight. I have to consider it more. And then, like you said, include her in, like find space for her.
So here's a concept that I've learned. I was on the phone with a brother a while back, and I said, what do you need from me over the next 90 days? Specifically. He thought about it. He said, I need accountability. I was like, from who? He said, I need accountability from you. I was like, no. You need accountability from your wife.
Boom.
I've learned that in order for us to be successful, my wife and I are a team. And so what I said to my man was, I was like, yo, your wife is your partner. That's your teammate. And he said, well, coach, you know, she ain't doing the coaching. She's not trying to develop herself like I am. That's cool, because you don't want somebody that's just like you.
Wow.
She is supposed to be your complementary opposite. And I learned this from the real life experience, because my wife would say to me, bruh, you want me to do everything the way you do it? And I would say, nah. But then when I sat back and thought about it, I was like, yeah, I do. And once I realized that her power is in being the complementary opposite.
Yes.
So when I'm moving fast, she slows me down.
Yeah.
When I tricked off $300,000 back in 2022 on bad investments, and she didn't slow me down, it was like, ooh. But now as we connect more, we communicate, we a team. When I have something that I want to do, she'll say, well, wait, let's think. True story. I just came back from San Diego, right? I didn't give my assistant the information. My assistant did everything except my hotel and my flight. So you know me, I waited to the last minute to look at. I looked at the flights, but I didn't book it.
Okay.
So in my head, I'm like, I think I can get a better rate.
Mm-hmm.
So the day before I was about to leave, so I left on Monday morning. Sunday, I'm talking to my wife, and I'm looking at what I put together, and I was like, "What you think?" And she was like, "Oh, you made a mess." And so we actually redid. She got on her thing. She called, reserved me some rooms. Did some stuff with the flights and everything. And so I said to her, I was like, "Yo, that's the greatest value that you bring to me right now." And I said, "I just need you to make sure to be more proactive, not in the sense of waiting, because if you had done it a little sooner, I could have really, 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 we could have saved a whole lot of money."
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times, thank you for sharing that. A lot of times we don't want to be shown our gaps, right? I don't want to be shown my gaps and like this, because it makes you feel kind of incompetent sometimes. And that's an insecurity that a lot of men have, right? But yeah, right. And the thing is, we need that. We need someone to show us our gaps, especially when you want to go to the next level, you want to go to the next dimension, you want to expand. And then she will tell you, it's not time yet. Or she's telling you, you need to shift now, you need to pivot now. And you thinking, no, let's wait. And even with me, there's been times that I wanted to, I was holding on. That's the shepherd in me, right? I want to hold on. I want to save this person. I want to do this. Come on. That person's no good for whatever, right? I'm like, no, it's good. That's good. I'm trying to see him through God's eyes. No, he's good. Yeah, he's good, but he's not good to be in your top 5. You know what I'm saying? So those insights, I think that our wives have. I think that's really good. You was talking about that relational piece, and I think that's that tension sometimes. That's a challenge that us men, us husbands, and us fathers have. Trying to shape the relationship piece. I believe that you are a relationship coach. You're a relationship coach, and well, more than that, you help build marriages and all that kind of stuff. Let's talk about that.
Yeah,
please.
So one of the things I really believe. When I was armor bearer in the 90s, I was in the Nation for about 8 or 9 years. And I ain't smoke, I didn't drink, I didn't do drugs, I didn't chase women or men.
Okay.
I was clean. So I believe that whenever I put myself out front, I need to be clean. When I got dirty, when I moved to Atlanta and I got dirty, I realized that I can't be out front. So when I was armor bearer for the pastor, I had to sit down with him. I was like, "Yo, I ain't clean right now. Like, I'm smashing chick in the front row. I can't be up here." And so I would sat myself down. And so one of the things that I've learned in this season of my life is the number one priority in my life is me.
Okay.
The number 2 priority in my life is my wife.
Okay.
The number 3 priority in my life is my children, my family.
Okay.
And then business.
I like that.
Now watch. If you do an org chart, if I ask you right now, let's do an org chart.
Okay.
Family org chart.
Family.
All right. So you know an org chart, you got the top, and then so who's at the top of your org chart?
Me.
Boom. Now,
but the funny thing is me, but I'm the foundation. So it could look like I'm the top, but I'm holding everything up. So it kind of looks weird.
But which is why you are at the top.
But yeah.
And you're responsible for everything coming down.
Right.
And your personal development, your growth, your strength, your shoulders has to be strong enough for everybody on that org chart to stand on. Your core values, your character.
Yep.
So if you think about it, if you're at the top of the org chart, I did my org chart. I'm at the top. And then down, definitely down, and to the right of me is my wife.
Okay.
I'm the CEO. She's the COO. On the org chart, on my side, I got my 3 children I came with. On her side, she got her 3 children. And down the middle, we have our 1 daughter. But make no mistake, and I tell my kids this, I'm at the top of this org chart.
Yeah.
If I'm at the chart, I'm the CEO. If I'm at the top, I'm the CEO. Everybody is looking up at me.
Yes.
Up to me. So the way I walk, the character that I walk in, the things that I say. So somebody asked me, they said, "Coach, you after 11 years, you never even had a desire to have a drink?" I was like, he took the taste out of my mouth. But the truth of the matter is, if I do something dirty, it's more, it's going to hurt me more to have to explain to my children that I can't, like, so I'm like, yo, the responsibility.
That's the inside work.
Which is why if we're not taking care of ourselves as men, physically, mentally, emotionally, and soulfully or spiritually, which creates the foundation. But you know what we do? We're going to get the bag first, and we just forgetting about the body.
Leaving a bloody mess.
A bloody mess. And we do that because going to get the bag is easy. When you start focusing on yourself and your family and your lady, your wife, now you're saying, I got to do the hard work, which is hard work.
That's hard work.
And most of us don't want to do, most of us are challenged doing the hard work because it requires a level of vulnerability that we're not used to sharing.
Man, this is good. This is good. I know that everyone is really being blessed by this. You like give me kidney shots.
Us.
So the thing is, with me, I've been introduced to this concept, and I kind of teach it to kids and as well as adults. I did a presentation about a month ago with some people out in London. It was on Zoom, London, and also California and Seattle. So I was explaining to them the 5 F's: faith, family, friends, fitness, and finance.
I like that.
But I got beat up after the presentation was over.
What?
By me.
Oh.
I was dirty, like you were saying. The fitness piece, man. I see I've gained weight. I'm a little sluggish sometimes. So I do less diet and everything. Yeah. So what I did is I joined the gym. Yeah. I joined the gym. Yeah, I got a gym in the basement. But I was like, accountability. I went and joined the gym like a couple of weeks after that. And it's like, yo, I can't be preaching about faith, family, friends, fitness, and finances if I'm slugging, if I'm buying extra bigger pants and that kind of stuff. So I felt kind of dirty. So when you said that kind of like, I don't want to be up front preaching that, teaching that, sharing that when I'm not in the image of that.
Yeah. And it's the accountability piece.
Yeah.
But the accountability piece is you got to find a reason to do it.
Yeah.
So I know so stage 5, we'll talk about it later, but stage 5, a stage 5 man is super self-aware. Now I know me, I don't believe in running. I don't think there's a reason for it. I don't think there's a purpose to it, and I don't like to run.
But you did a marathon.
But I did it for a reason.
Okay.
I know me, I'm very competitive. And I know that if I put myself in a competitive space, so I said, I'm going to run a marathon. I'm going to tell you exactly how it happened. My guy called me. Now, I've ran half marathons before. And just to reiterate, so watch this. Last year, I did a half a marathon. The year before that, I did a half a marathon.
Wow.
But when I registered for the half a marathon last year, my wife was sitting next to me, and she said, you know what? I'm going to run it with you. So now we're talking about if you're at the top of your org chart as the CEO, you're not leading by your words. You're leading by your actions, and your actions create the words.
Okay.
So my actions created an example for my wife. So I was going around the country doing talks and trainings and everything, but I was asking people. So my wife is running with me. My goal is to break the time that I had last year. Now, if I run with my wife, I'm not going to break that time. Right. So I was asking people, what should I do? And everybody was saying, I promise you, the majority of people were saying, yo, go break your time. And in my head, I was like, y'all crazy as hell. My wife's first time running it. So I made the right decision. I'm going to run it with my wife. And it was the most excruciating thing for her. She wanted to quit. And it's my job to walk with her and sacrifice my time.
Sacrifice. You served her by sacrificing.
Now watch. Did the race. She finished it. It was a great accomplishment for her, but she never would have ran it if I didn't run it.
But she was always going to have that. Even when, let's say, you're going to live to 120 years old, right? Both of you guys are going to live to 120 years old. So at that time, when you're 119, she's going to bring that up.
Yeah,
she's going to say, you was with me. You wasn't selfish.
It's bigger than that. I'm going to tell you why. It's the unspoken. Yeah. So watch. If she's running a marathon because she sees me doing it, then my son see me doing it at 57. Then everybody in the org chart see how Pop get down. They're like, oh, I'm learning. I love podcasts. I love watching YouTube stuff. But I love pastors. But I love speakers. But you know what I hate?
Right.
All talk and no work.
Boom.
So for me, it's like, I want to let my actions dictate my words.
That's good.
And when I do that, I'm training my children, I'm training my family. This is how we're going to flow. Now, the benefit for me is I registered for the marathon. My man hit me and was like, hey, you going to run a half marathon this year? I was like, yeah, I'm going to do a half. He said, I'm going to do a full marathon. And then he said, now watch, I know I'm competitive, stage 5. He said, yeah, only 0.1% of people in the entire world have completed a marathon. Now watch this. I ain't got no high school diploma. I don't have no college degrees. I don't have any certifications. I have nothing that qualifies me. And I coach executives, professional athletes, PhDs, but I have nothing that qualifies me besides experience. So when he said only 0.1% of people have it, I immediately said, I'm going to do the whole.
Yeah.
And it sounded good when I said it.
You want to beat the odds.
Until I started running it.
We had to prepare for it.
But what it did was it kept me in shape.
Yeah.
Because I know once I put it out there, I'm telling the kids, I'm telling everybody, I'm on social media with it. Now the accountability. But it's not accountability that most of us men think about. It's the responsibility of being accountable for what I said I was going to do.
And what you're doing is also training up the child. And let's do it this way, training in the way, not even just say the child, because you're training adults too. Training adults in organizations, so you're training them in the way that they should go.
Everybody in my org chart. So now, when I say 57 years old, 26.2 miles in 2025, so February, ran the marathon. Then I said, you know what? I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do Chicago or New York in October or November. I play golf every weekend. I said, I'm going to do a golf tournament. I'm always trying to find ways to challenge myself to compete. So now what I'm saying is, I want to be the best husband and have the best relationship. What does that look like? And here's the clear word that I got. You got to sacrifice yourself.
Sacrifice yourself.
Guess what that means, bro? Ego got to go.
Yeah.
You can't be the same man that you used to be. Can't.
No.
Like, hey, you know how I always say that, we be in church and Sister Tree come down every Sunday with the same testimony. You, as a man, you can't be the man. You can't be Sister Tree with the same testimony.
Right.
I can't just keep saying, oh man, I ain't drank in 11 years. Like I got rid of drinking. And okay, now what? I saved my marriage. Now what?
Scripture right here that you just said something, it just kind of triggered in me. And we say this in a lot of ways. We're more than conquerors, right? So whenever I heard that you're more than a conquerors, like growing up in church and just even in ministry and everything, and then it hit me. More than a conqueror means I have to conquer much. So it's sobering to know that every time I conquer something, now I got to conquer something else. But now as the person that's responsible for my family, for my wife, for my relationship with my daughter, for the relationship with the Father's Coach team and Life by Design, I have to be that image. And what we're doing right now, we are reforming the image of fatherhood and manhood. We're reforming that. You're talking about men. You're talking about men. I want to go to the phase of the man. I want to go there. I'm going to go there. I want to tap back to what we talked about
real quick before I talk about this.
Go ahead. Go for it.
I love what you're doing, and I love what you just said. Here's what I've learned. My first son, firstborn, is 36. He was born in 1990. And I became a father. And I wasn't a good father because I wasn't a good man. The order is, before you become a father, you've got to become a man.
Yeah.
But before you even become a man, you have to understand the assignment. So on the way up here, I was on the phone with one of my guys. I said, what was the original commandments? And he did, love yourself. No. What's the original?
Be fruitful.
Then what?
Multiply.
Then what?
Replenish.
Then
subdue.
And have
dominion.
Boom. Now, my man said, capital H said, boom, be fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue, and have dominion.
Yeah.
Man, And you know what? Since I gave you all that, I'm going to give you some help. Just going back to the basics. So it's not even about, before I can even think about being a father, I have to say, am I being fruitful?
Boom.
Am I multiplying? Boom. Am I subduing? Am I replenishing? And do I have any type of dominion? And if I'm not doing that, I shouldn't even be thinking about taking on the responsibility of another life. I'm sorry, 2 more lives.
You're talking about the subdue piece? What do we have to subdue? I have to subdue the things that I have accomplished in the last season, because I have to conquer much. So we have to know how to subdue and conquer and have victory over something, so we can have a testimony or something. Not even say the testimony, kind of living it, like you're saying.
And it don't stop. Like it's on repeat. Be fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue, have dominion. Okay, then what? Rinse and repeat. Be fruitful, multiply, replenish. Then what? Rinse and repeat.
In every season of our lives.
Until, I told a cat the other day, I was riding down the street and I saw this homeless lady with children. And whenever I see it, it hurts. Sometimes I'll start crying. So my wife saw me and she said, why are you so bothered? Every time I see a woman that has been left alone, whether it's by herself or with her children, in my head I say, somewhere in her life, a man fell off his post. Either it was her father, her brother, her uncle,
or grandfather,
her cousin. Somewhere in her life, a man fell off his post. Then my wife said to me, what about when you see a man? Somewhere in his life, a man fell off his post. What does my post look like? Setting the example. You can't change people, but you can give them an example.
We're the foundation for a lot of things. When we're born in the earth, man, we're born with responsibilities, but a man has to be taught that. A man has to be taught that by somebody, preferably a man, preferably a father. This is your responsibilities. And of course, grow them in a way that, this is your responsibility. You got to take care of your sisters. You can't fight your sisters. You can't fight your cousins, your girl cousin, whatever. You're an example type of thing. All those things, responsibilities. But it can sound like a drab. It can sound like, but you know what? It has benefits.
Because the talking has to stop. Like I've learned, my oldest is 36. My youngest son, he in the halfway house now, second stint in jail, coming home, and I think he finally caught it. But one of the things he says to me is, when I'm talking to him, I'll say something, he was like, yep, I remember you showed me that. I remember I heard you say this, but you showed me this. He said, I saw you stop drinking, because my son seen me when I was dirty. When we had the boom boom room in the barbershop, and at any moment, it was work in the boom boom room. So they saw dirty, but they saw me change. So I'm giving them an example, and here's the biggest lesson I learned. Love them for who they are, not who you want them to be, and love them for where they are, not where you want them to be. Well, shut your damn mouth, because what you're saying has no power. But your actions, I got a tattoo right there. It says La Familia. I don't believe in tattoos. Not that I don't like them, but I don't believe in unnecessary pain. My 18-year-old daughter, my wife tells me one day, she's 21 now, when she was 18, my wife said, yo, your daughter got a problem with you. I'm thinking I'm good. She got her own car. I'm just kicking out bread, like.
Who bought the car?
Of course.
Okay.
Kicking out bread. I'm thinking she good. So we sat at the kitchen table, and my wife kind of played the mediator, and my daughter just started crying. She could not tell me what was going on. She was in therapy at the time. So my wife suggested, y'all go to therapy your next session. So I said, cool. Talk to the therapist. And y'all out there write this word down, ego.
Ego.
Ego. So I go to therapy with my daughter. Therapist was a young lady. Could have been one of my kids. My ego said, what am I learning from her?
What's she gonna tell me?
Come on. And I'm sitting there,
your daddy,
as we start conversating and everything. And I said to myself, bro, you need to chill. Because my daughter started really crying. And what came out of it was, I wasn't being vulnerable. I wasn't connecting with my daughter. She didn't know who I really was. Now I'm saying I'm the most vulnerable cat in the world. I tell all my business on social. And then it came, they both said, you only tell what you want people to know. Well, I tell it, no. But you don't tell us how you feel about it.
Emotion.
So it came out. And then my daughter said, and we don't have our saying. So I was trying to figure out a way to just connect with my daughter. She tied it out. She's a creative. She do hair. She dance and all that. So she got tats everywhere. So I said to her, trying to be strategic, why don't we get our own tattoo? And she loved the idea.
Wow.
Now I'm chirping. Now I ain't expected to be like, so I gave her the assignment, will you find out what we're going to get? And she started looking. So my wife and I took her to Mexico with
means pain.
Wife and I took her to Mexico. We in Mexico. My daughter says, we should get our tattoos while we out here. I said, yeah, but we don't want to leave your mother out. Well, I want mom to get one too with us. So long story short, we all went and got the same tattoo.
Wow.
Ever since I got this tattoo, the relationship and the connection with my daughter, 360-degree difference. So she'll talk, she asks me for advice. And I'm learning not to offer it until it's asked. She'll talk to me about boys, and I ain't even really trying to, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I have to do it because, watch this, I got to focus on connection beyond concealment.
Connection, concealment. Okay.
Yeah, and concealment for me means not allowing her to express how she really feels. Or me just trying to say whatever I want to say. You know how we grew up.
Yeah.
Don't speak in the room unless you spoke to. Right. Do as I say, not as I do.
Like I said so.
And the yelling. So the relationship that I've created with her, I've extended to every one of my people in my family org chart.
Now, did you just have a wedding? You just walked your daughter down the aisle.
Yeah, my second youngest daughter.
Had everybody in tears.
Is that a thing, second youngest? Yeah.
D-baby, right? The second youngest?
Yeah, not my youngest, but the one next up from the youngest.
Baby. They called her baby. It's from down south stuff.
Oh, okay. I know that.
I heard that growing up. They were saying that and all that hillside stuff.
Yes. And I always said to my daughter, I'm going to marry you, bury you, because I got paperwork, marry you, bury you. And it was already a foregone conclusion that I was going to pay for the wedding. Now, when I was saying that, I ain't had no bread.
But you spoke it.
Nah, bro, I was just talking. I'm chirping. Like we chirp, you know what I'm saying? We'll chirp and then say, watch this, I'm going to make it happen. Now, we could say it sweet. Like, now, this would be the sweet way to say it. I'm going to speak it into existence. You put it out there. That's the life of it. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be that BS.
You got to walk that.
Yeah, that's that BS.
It's funny you say that because this is the Hebrew month of Sivan, S-I-V-A-N, right? Uh-huh. And in this month, everybody who are aware, what you have to do is you have to be careful of what you say. And because what you say is where you're going to go. So if you're speaking death, you're speaking something crazy, right? You're going that way. You're unfocused. You know, you're dirty as you were saying. But if you keep speaking, this is what I'm going to do. I'm putting actions to it. You know, my fitness thing. I got to stop saying that, or I got to put actions to it. So I joined the gym, and I've been doing it. I'm sore right now.
Excellent.
My legs are sore. My upper body's sore right now. And all of that. Even before I joined the gym, I went. I started this stress therapy. So I jumped for the last 3 months. I've been doing this stress therapy. Type of stretch, not stress, stretch.
Okay,
stretching.
You get, when you get old, man, mobility. When you get old,
man, I'm 56.
Yeah, when you get old,
I'm 56. You're 57. And you know what though? On a somber note, on the way up here, I got a phone call from a dude I was in the Air Force with. His wife called me and said that text me and said this. I thought it was him, so I was excited. She's like, no, this is Vera. You know, he just he had a stroke on Sunday. And he's recovering and everything. So I'm driving up here, all amped up, you know, for this episode. But I'm like, you know, man, he's 57, diesel, brother, my man. I mean, my man, 50 grand type of thing. Wow. And I'm like, life.
Yeah.
You know, life, you know, thank God that he's okay.
Yeah.
But when you was talking about 57 and 56 and our age and putting stuff, I'm like, whatever's in your heart, whatever's in my heart, I'm going to do it. I believe this is also a year, and this is for everybody that's going to watch this. I believe that this is a year for partnerships, mergers, and acquisitions. That means you got to put work in.
Yeah.
That means you got to put work in. That means I have to make some pivots. I got to make some pivots where it's uncomfortable. That means I have to talk to people like yourself, relationship. I need to talk to people who are where I need to go.
Yeah.
I have to be uncomfortable. I have to be comfortable being uncomfortable in this new phase.
Yeah.
This new phase. And I'm not lobbing this ball out to you.
Yeah.
This is where I am. I know this is that season for a lot of fathers. Everything that you're saying now about the daughters, the relationship, having something that's just for them.
Yeah.
Just for them. And then the pivot. Like you're pivoting. You're sharing with us your pivot.
Yeah.
I'm in a major pivot right now. And I share with you, I'm in a major pivot right now. And I have to include my wife more.
Yeah. You got to be willing. Like, I'm going to be honest. I don't think 57 is old. And I'm going to tell you why. I just left my uncle who's like my father.
Yeah.
And he's 78, I think. Mm-hmm. And he got sarcoidosis, been on prednisone for years. He having problems with his leg, and I'm watching how he getting around. I left my mother, she 85, and she's barely moving around. And so when I look at my 57, I'm preparing for 77.
Yeah.
Now watch.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm seeing 77 in my uncle, and I'm saying, I got to prepare for when that comes. Now, that means I got to change the way I eat. Mm-hmm. I got to stretch. I got to have mobility. I got to walk. Yeah. And watch this. I have to remove the stress. And watch. Every day we go out, we hustling for bread. You talk about seasons. We hustling for bread. Watch this. In 2020, maybe 2020 through, hit my first 7 figures around 2020 in this business. Made a lot of bread.
Yeah.
Tricked off a lot of bread. Accountant said, you made this is what you kept. I'm like, ooh. And I'll never forget, man, I was talking to Inky one day, and I told Ink how much I made. And he was like, man, he said, K, that was a hard middle, wasn't it? And I sat back and thought about it and was like, yo, that was hard.
Was that painful?
It was hard work. It was the grind.
Yeah.
I'm in a season now where I can do the same thing, but I can do it in purpose, on purpose.
In purpose. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So the season that I hit the first 7 figures, mm-hmm. I was coaching, I was speaking, I was grinding, but I wasn't happy.
Going to plane to plane.
I love going to see the plane, but it wasn't that. I wasn't happy with the people I was coaching.
Oh.
I was doing it because it was that season.
Okay.
But I grew, I watch this.
Was it organizations?
Individuals. Individuals. So when I started speaking to kids in schools, sports teams. I was yelling at kids. I ain't gonna say speaking.
You're hollering, screaming.
Yeah, but you grow out of that.
Yeah.
Then I went into colleges, students. You grow out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I started building the speaking coaching business, I had a lot of people that wanted me to coach them on how to make money, how to do, coach, I want to do what you do. And I grew out of that. When I was cutting hair while I didn't love cutting hair. I loved the platform that it gave me to be who I am and to express my gift. The platforms will always change.
Yeah.
But if we don't allow change to happen, we'll stay stuck on a platform and the gift has outgrown the platform.
So the platform is just a vehicle
for you to express your highest gifts, your talents in purpose.
In purpose.
So what I'm doing right now, I've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
I just did it on different platforms.
That's good.
So now I try to stay conscious of the platforms.
I like that.
And in this season, the platforms is not, like I talk to kids and I do my thing, but it's out of love. I ain't charging for that.
Right.
The men that I work with, and that's been the platform since the 90s. But I've been running from it. You know why? Because it's like, ain't nobody going to pay you to do.
Right. You got to teach them. You got to teach them why they need a coach, and then let them know
it's ego. But it's cool because now, because of the season that I'm in, I don't need to make money from it. Because I've grown away from the kids. So now my clients are executives, professional athletes, companies, corporations, and I can work with men in love, in purpose.
Now you do that with Grind Nation?
Now Grind Nation is gone.
Okay.
That was a season. Okay. It came and it left.
Okay.
The name of the company now is Stage 5 Solutions.
Stage 5 Solutions.
Ask me how I came with the...
How did you come with Stage 5? You got to start with Stage 1, 2, 3. We got to do. I love it. I love this stuff.
Back in 2010, I got a call from a lady, and she wanted me to come and speak to a group of young boys that she mentored. She had in her mentor group.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I want you to speak on a few different things. And I said, just off the top of my head, so I'll talk about the stages from male to manhood. And then once I put it all together, it became 5 stages. Uh-huh. And over the years, it's been different iterations. So I did a podcast. And on the podcast, now prior to the podcast, before it became public, when I had G-Men, when I had Medic, all of that stuff.
I had the hat.
Yeah.
The hoodie and all that for the
Grindation and the community. The 5 stages in a man's life was always there. I always taught them. But I did podcasts, and on the podcast, it just popped out. And so I mentioned that there are 5 stages in a man's life. All right. So stage 1 is a baby, right? And these stages are around attention, love, maturity.
Any age could be a stage.
It has nothing to do with age.
Gotcha.
Right. So stage 1, a baby. And if you think about a baby cries for attention and love because that's the only thing they know how to do. Stage 2, and they lack maturity because they're not grown. Stage 2 is a youth. They yearn for attention and love, right? Still not mature. Stage 3 is a young male. They act out for attention. The jail is full of it.
Give me an example.
They act out. They act based on emotions. They react instead of respond. They're only focused on what they want, what they need, and they're not concerned with anybody else's feelings. I just need to get what I want. I'm going to go rob this store. I'm going to go take this car. I'm going to go do whatever I want to do because I want it. And I'll deal with the consequences later.
Okay.
That's a young male. He acts out for attention and love. Good. You want to ask about it. Stage 4. This is good. Grown man.
Mm-hmm.
He gives attention and love. Asterisk. It's conditional. Only when he feels like he's receiving something in return.
Now, I bet a lot of men are in that place right there. And
a lot of us.
And they feel that, and we feel justified.
Yeah.
She did this, she did that.
Yeah. But watch this. When you don't, so if we stage 4 and we like, yo, I'm a grown man, and I'm justified because she didn't do this, I'm not going to do that because I ain't got nothing to measure it against. But if you know now, there's another level. There's a stage 5. Stage 5 is a mature man. He is love. He is attention. He is super self-aware. And he gives it unconditionally.
That's a flourish.
So no matter how many times my son been in jail.
That's love.
I'm love.
That's agape love.
It's agape. And so what happens is now, and here's the piece. Here's the piece.
Sure.
Most of us will never stay in 5.
Mm-hmm.
With 5, it's about being aware that you're in another stage and getting to 5 as soon as you can. And I vacillate sometime between 3 and 4, just depending on what's popping.
Yeah.
And then once my wife and I was in Tobago, I rented one of the cars that you drive on the other side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm driving the car, we're going up, and my wife is like, yo, you close to the thing over here. You almost be careful. And it got real aggravated. So I snap, she snap, we arguing on the way up a mountain in Tobago. And so as I'm going around, I'm like, yo, you just keep saying it. And I was feeling, I was like pissed. I know I was stage 3, but I ain't think about it. Mm-hmm. So we got quiet. You know how you get quiet for a second. And now in my head, I'm like, I ain't saying nothing to her. She got on my nerves. And she just come out and say, what stage do you think you are right now? See, that'd be that BS right there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was pissed at first, but then I thought about it and I was like,
that was a curveball.
3. And I caught myself. And I was like, yo, I apologize.
That was your accountability right there.
Saying that's my partner.
Yeah.
And so when I realized, and that's what we all have to do to get to 5. First of all, you got to be super self-aware. Like, I know that I'm competitive. I like to compete. Mm-hmm. And because I know that if I want to continue to work out and eat right, I need to put myself in competition.
Yeah.
I also know that I'll fall off a workout in a minute. So I have to have a why. Why am I doing it?
Why?
And my wife is my why.
Ooh.
Not money, not anything external. It's intrinsic, not extrinsic.
Hey.
My kids are my why. So every time I feel like I'm going to fall off, I look at the org chart.
My why makes me cry.
This is who and what I'm responsible for. And if I fall off, the entire corporation goes down.
Yeah. I love those stages. Wow, thank you. Man, we can do this all day.
Yeah, I do it all day, every day.
We can do this right here all day, because I'm like, this is so needed with all the people that we're coaching, from the kids to the young adults, especially to the men, and also business. I mean, you tapped into a lot of different areas and a lot of different realms, volumes. I know you fed me, and you fed everybody, even in the studio here. So thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing. I want you to give something. I'm going to give you like 30 seconds just to think about what you want to share to the FCC community. FCC is the Father's Coach community. It's our community. So I want you to share something that will impact them. This whole episode, this whole show was impactful, but I want you to give them something, because we're gonna close out right now, and I want to put you in an arm. I want to put you in an arm headlock and just keep you here for a couple more minutes, but I can't do that. But go ahead. Just give us something here, please.
So before you put so much emphasis and focus on being a father, concentrate on your manhood. Concentrate on your manhood. Because whether or not you marry or you have kids, you have to function as a man. And what that means is you have to, and I'm going to give you two examples. We can use the scripture, we'll use practical. Be fruitful.
Yeah.
Multiply. Replenish. Subdue. And have dominion. Now watch. A lot of times what we don't do is when we watching a podcast, we hearing gems. And people will say, oh man, how many people send me clips of podcasts? I'm talking in my circle, in our couple circle.
Yeah.
Oh, this was a gem, but ain't nobody really going back and studying what was said.
Right.
So to all my brothers, I challenge you to go look up and define fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue, and dominion. And once you have a description and a definition for that, take action. If you're not being fruitful, you ain't multiplying, replenishing, subduing, and you ain't got no dominion, meaning you ain't got no juice. You ain't got no power. You ain't got, first of all, if you don't have kids, no power. If you don't have children, don't be in a rush.
Right.
So if you heard of Maslow's hierarchy, all right. So Maslow, at the base of it is food, shelter, and clothing.
Yep.
And the reason why you want to be able to take care of yourself. And then the second layer is have security around that. So if you on the base, you feeding yourself, you clothing yourself, and you got your own, I'm going to say this again, bro. You have your own place. Your own place. Now, I'm guilty of it. I moved in with my wife before we got married because I ain't have it. I was just, you got your own place. And then the second level to that is security. Now, what that means is you ain't just going from month to month. You know that if you lose your gig, if you ain't making bread, you still can live at your spot 6 months to 9 months. And the reason why you have to have that foundation is because the third level is now you bringing people in.
Yeah.
You bringing your girl in and or you bringing children in. Man. Now, here's what it is. When I bring them in or bring the child in or bring my girl in and she coming to stand with me, that's a lot of weight. And the foundation got to have security. And something to stand on. If I ain't got nothing to stand on, I shouldn't be bringing nobody in. So focus on being a man.
Yes.
And everybody got a definition. But just simply make sure that you're being fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue, and have dominion. Period. And everything you need is already here. And watch, going to work and making money is simple. Like it ain't that deep. I don't have to grindation. Man, when I finally realized that I ain't have to be up 24 hours grinding just to make money, all you got to do is go to work.
Right.
So my schedule, I wake up every morning. The first hour and a half of every day is mine. Then I have my work schedule. I work. Then I have an evening schedule. Watch this. Once a week, my wife and I do a weekly sync. Pretty much every day we have coffee together, right? Once a month, we do family day. Everybody in the org chart. 2 hours. Now, y'all can stay past the 2 hours, but after 2 hours, I'm done. Once a month, we do couples dinner with our married children. Once a month, I do Son's Day with my sons. Once a month, my wife does Daughter's Day. Once a quarter, me and my wife get away. We ain't tricking off bread. It could be local.
Right.
And then once a year, we do an out-of-the-country vacation. Once a week, on my calendar, it says, call Mom. Every Monday, 9:30, call Unc. My sister ain't on the calendar, but she makes sure I call her because she be cussing me out. I'm saying these things, but this is a part of manhood.
This is manhood.
And the challenge is that we don't have any standard of measurement. So we freestyling and we chasing money.
Man, thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for joining in today. I mean, I'm telling you, Coach K really blessed us. He didn't give us nuggets. He gave us a blueprint. And because he gave us a blueprint, what we all need is look at our org chart. We need to have a vision. We need to start looking past. I mean, we could keep talking about this, but what we need to start thinking for this year, start thinking about the next decade. He shared with us, he's 57 years old, but he's thinking for the next 20 years. He's preparing his body, his mind, his soul for the next 20 years. We should do the same. So again, thanks for joining the Father's Coach podcast. You know, subscribe, comment, and like us. Comment, please comment. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care.